Good
Thank you.
morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. I am so excited to be here. Thank you so much for the juicy conversations this morning. For all of you all I do not know, I am Lolita E. Walker. I am a certified life leadership and executive coach. If you are here live, I want to say hey to my Facebook community, Coaching Cocktails and Conversations, LinkedIn, YouTube, and of course, Breakfast with Champions on Clubhouse. I'm super excited today. Listen, every single week I come to you and I bring you 30 minutes of pure power. I leave you with strategies and I bring a bit of coaching, cocktails, and conversations to the party. So, coaching is where I leave you with a couple nuggets to challenge your thinking. Cocktails is not so much about what you're sipping on, but it's more about celebrating the greatness of who it is that you are. And then conversations is the live discussions, the chats, the messages, all of the things that we do right here in order to bring you these amazing strategies so that you can walk, talk, and behave differently. Today is no different. Today, I am talking to you about supersizing your life, elevating your strengths, and I have an amazing guest with me today. Guess where I met her? On Clubhouse. Yes, we have met in person. Yes, we have gone to conferences together. Yes, we are going to LA together for this amazing conference for Monica Floyd in July. I know some of you all inside of this room are going too, but Danny has such a powerful story. If you're joining me live, then you can see her because Danne Smith Mathis is on. And let me tell you all, she's been on my podcast, Coaching Cocktails and Conversations, before. As you all know, I have my own podcast, but I'm also one of the amazing co hosts on Breakfast with Champions podcast as well. And so I had Danny on because I don't know where we were. I started listening to her story, and her story is so amazing. She's a domestic abuse survivor. She's an advocate. She is a mommy. She is really surpassing all types of expectations that people have for anybody's life. I'm telling you. She's an activist. She's a writer. She is supersizing her life. And so when I saw this new endeavor that she's in, I said, guess what? I want to bring you on in order to talk to you because I believe that when you supersize, that we could leave folks with strategies because just think about supersize. Now, here's the thing. I looked up, my best friend Google. Me and Google had a conversation this morning. And so, supersize, according to my best friend Google, is to greatly increase the size of something or someone. It is to enhance, it's to amplify, it's to grow larger. And so, with those things, I want to talk to Danny and invite her into the conversation because today we're going to be talking about how to supersize your life and elevate your strengths. Hi, Danny. Welcome to the party.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Oh, I love it. Juicy. Yes, I'm in juicy this morning.
I love it. Listen, let's say hello to some of the Facebook users and everybody that we had. We say good morning from a Facebook user. We have Jacqueline Underwood that is here up on, I hope I said this right. Eponmil. Let's see. I hope I said that correctly. I probably did not, but I want to say hello.
Eponymous. Oh, eponymous.
Oh, yes.
She's from
Yes.
Clubhouse.
Eponymil. Yes, that's what I'm going with. I think that that's amazing. So eponymil, hopefully we said it correctly. And if you want to type it out phonetically, just so we're not screwing up your name, then I think that that's amazing too. There's so much power that's within it. So let's get right into it because we only have a half an hour and then we also want to open this up. So, Danny, let me just get started because one of the things that I think is so phenomenal about you, and let's just get into strategy one, is really surpassing even your expectations of now. Like, why don't you just give the folks a little overview of who it is that you are and how you ended up right here today? Because you're not new to Breakfast with Champions. That's the thing.
No, I'm not. And that's where we met Lolo. So everyone, I call her Lolo. And I just want to give a shout out to both of our sororities and our sorority sisters. She is the first a member of the first African American women's sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. I then followed 5 years later with Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. And I am wearing Lolo's color today, pink, in honor of her. So if you know, you know, this is real collaboration for y'all of you that see this.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you.
So that's the context of us. The other context is yes, we met in Breakfast with Champions. Thank you, Glenn Lundy. Oh my goodness, I can't thank him enough. And so yeah, Lo, I'm a mom, but I'm a domestic abuse survivor. Shout out to Tina Turner, who also was fabulous in surviving that situation, as many of us know. Um, Rest in peace, Tina. And also a homeschool mom, homeschooled for 15 years. I was a stay-at-home mom back when it was not popular, back in the early 90s, actually, 1990 to 2005. And then I homeschooled my grandchild during the pandemic as well. And yeah, and I've taught 30 years at university. But I am not a traditional educator. I taught mainly at community colleges for people that were older than I was, people that like were old enough to be my grandparents that were going back to school for the first time because they had that opportunity. Daughter of a college president and a second grade school teacher. So yeah, that part.
I I love it. No, thank you. I didn't know that you were the daughter of a college president. I don't know that I knew that. But listen, let's just get into it. So, Danny, you are embarking on something that is super amazing right now. And when I think about supersizing, I think sometimes even about my life, and let's just talk about yours, is do you ever sometimes we don't even realize where it is we're going and how broad things are. So Danny is actually in a contest right now for it to be a super mom, to just be named super mom and all of the things that that encompasses. So tell me about what that means in relation to surpassing even your expectations of where you are inside of this moment.
I'm a board member of an organization called Youth Think Indigo. And Youth Think Indigo is really created an educational wellness initiative where it's just trying to bring youth mainly, started as Blue Star Virtual Learning during the pandemic, but now it's expanded. They put me in as a board of advisors. And I wanted to do some fundraising for them because they are embarking on a trip to Accra, Ghana, to help bring some thought leadership and innovative technology approaches to youth over in Accra, Ghana. So I thought, okay, let me see what's a really creative way I can do this. So as a writer, I said, well, let me enter a competition. So literally, I was just Googling competitions. And Supermom came up, and I thought, oh, okay. The prize money was pretty significant. And I said, well, if I win this, I can donate a portion back to You Think Indigo. And that's how I started in the competition. Really, it wasn't really about me. It was about trying to raise money for another organization, hoping to win it.
Oh my gosh. This when we talk about surpassing even your expectations of now, I love that you just said, listen, I said a competition. Let me just Google, my best friend Google, and see what competitions are out there. And so when I think surpassing your expectations of now, I wonder, Danny, do you think this too? Is that I know I've been in situations, just everybody just think about where you are inside of this moment. And even my story of getting into a doctoral program and really leveraging the power of community, saying things out loud. I'm like, one day I want to be Dr. Walker. And it was somebody who said, well, guess what? Let me challenge you to actually apply. Let's see where this thing can go. And in that moment, I didn't think about, oh, I can take this on, because sometimes we get in our own way. If I really would have thought about it so much, I would have said, this is the reason why I can't do it. This is the reason why I can't do it. I don't know, this, and that. And I think sometimes we forget to surpass even our expectations of what's happening right now. Do you see that inside of your life as well?
Yeah, so I really want to go back to this competition, only because of the question that you're asking is that I never expected, well, it's like you expect to win, right? You expect to finish your doctorate, right? But it's like you're actually doing it. So when you start to doing it and you're inside of it and every day you're accomplishing the next thing towards that goal, it's an amazing feeling. So right now is the last day for me in the quarterfinals. I mean, I started out against 30,000 women. I'm down to 2016. Hopefully by 10 o'clock tonight, I'll be down to the last 144 and then going on into the semis and the finals. But I've been doing it since April the 3rd. I did not know my life was going to take on this whole idea. I've never really done an individual fundraiser before. I've, written a check and helped people out and sat and, done things like that. But no, this is a all out blast for me. So yeah, this is definitely not what I expected.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit, because these strategies that we're leaving is really in essence to not only help people to leverage their strengths, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but also to enhance and supersize where it is that they are right now inside their life. So this first strategy is surpass even your own expectations of now. But Danny, what you just talked about that I heard is infiltrate the space with all of you. So not only did you look for this competition, but you're like, guess what? I'm all in right now. I can already see, and we talk on here all the time about your future self. So those of you listening, I want you to see on the backside of that. And then let's talk infiltrate the space with all of you. But I do want to put up this link because today, what Danny just said is listen, 30,000 women were in this contest when I entered. And now I'm in the quarterfinals. And tonight, she needs to be, what's the number you need to be in the what, Danny?
One. I need to be number one for the rest of the whole competition to win it in every single group. So it just dwindles down. You know, it's just law of averages. So there's right now there's I think 144 groups, 14 women in each group. Do the math. I don't know. I think that's like 2,016 women. Going to go down to 144 today.
Excellent. So we want to help you be one of those 144. And so I have on my screen right now the supermom.org/2023/Danielle-A-Mathis, which will be at the top of Clubhouse if you are there. And if you're watching live, you can see this here. We want to help Danny. We want to help our Breakfast with Champions sister. We want to help another powerful supermom to be in this competition and to really get named because we are a part of making that happen. We talk about community all the time. We talk about infiltrating inside of the space all of the time. And so when you come into something, you bring all of you. And sometimes that thing is scary. We're talking about supersizing your life and then enhancing, leveraging your strengths. So Danny, let me ask you this. What's one strength that you know without a shadow of a doubt that you brought into this competition here?
Service, the attitude of service. It's not something that you like say, oh, I'm a server, you know, oh, I want to serve it. You know, I want to serve. It's just what the first thing that came to my mind was, what can I do for this? How do I make this organization better? How do I here on American soil touch Accra, Ghana youth in Africa without even moving from my spot? Yes. All of this is for that.
Oh, infiltrating the space with all of you. And I want people to hone in on that because when you know without a shadow of a doubt, like I'm going into this place and I'm leaving all of me. Danny is saying, guess what? I'm going into this Supermom competition and I'm giving them all of me. When I leave, they're going to know who Danne Smith Mathis is. And so I appreciate the Facebook user who said, how do we get you to number one? See, that right there is exactly the type of collaboration that community can give. So the how you help Danny get to that number one position is to go to thesupermom.org/2023/Danielle-A-Mathis. And it's also, the link is in Clubhouse if you are there. The link is also showing on my screen if you're here live for Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube. So we love that, and we'll continue to say it in moments throughout the show. But guess what? We know we can, because supersizing, greatly increasing, enhancing, amplifying, right? All of those things we can do with the power of community. And so I want you to think about your own situations and how you can leverage the power of community in order to make sure that you are supersizing where it is that you are. So we're talking 4 strategies today in the acronym of size. We did the first one that we talked about today is surpass even your expectations from now. Think bigger, think bolder, think, let me just do it. What's the worst that can happen? Next, we talked about infiltrating the space with all of you. Danny, you wanted to leap in.
I want to also mention that when you support this effort, you are actually supporting the Children's Miracle Network hospitals, which is very, very significant organization, charity organization that helps children with critical care medical needs. So that's where these donations and funds go to.
Absolutely. And then I also wanted to let people know that this is also by vote. So you can vote without giving. Let's say that you just don't have it right now in order to give. You want to give to this amazing charity and organization in order to help in the world, in order to help children that absolutely need it, but you just are not able to right now. No worries. There is absolutely no judgment over here at all, because you can vote without giving, and that will help Danny get to number one. So all you do is click on the link and it'll say something like connect with Facebook or something to the natural of that, you just click it and you don't have to give. Now, should you choose to give, that actually helps Danny to be able to give back to the organization as well.
Yes.
And so we absolutely love that. The most votes is what actually wins. So any votes that you give right now, and you can do it. How often can you do it, Danny? Every day. Multiple.
Every 24 hours. Yes. Every 24 hours you can do daily votes. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And so I've already voted. I voted at 3:30 this morning. And so why was I up? That's a whole nother conversation. Okay, whole nother conversation. Let's keep on going because we only have a limited time. And I want to be able to open it up in case you guys have any questions for Danny as well. Listen, as we go into strategy number three is zero in on your why. When
Mhm.
you are looking to supersize your life, sometimes you got to get extremely focused on what is important to you, but not only what is important to you, why it's important to you. Because sometimes the what precedes us. And then we're doing this thing, but we haven't even thought about why is this thing important to us. And when you think about why it's important to you, sometimes you realize that what is not important right now. It's not even a priority. So,
Yes.
Danny, let's talk about how you zeroing on the why of this particular instance is so important. What is your why, Danny?
So here's the thing, Lo. Let me just say this. When you know, a lot of times you just said something very important. You said you know what you want to do and you do it. But at the end of that, if you don't know your why, you know what your biggest question is? What am I doing? And so when you know your why, your how comes, right? Your how comes. I've never done this before, but I knew why I was doing it, right? And we've talked about that, right? I didn't know about Children's Miracle Networks, but I know one thing. I never had a child that had critical care medical needs. So does that mean, is that the why I don't enter it? No, even the more so why I enter it is because it may not have been my primary reason for entering, but I can tell you right now, I am all over what it means to be part of Children's Miracle Network. In fact, I'm going to be visiting one of my local Children's Miracle Network hospitals here in Norfolk, Virginia, which is the only Children's Miracle Network hospital in Hampton Roads area. And I'm going to actually go down there because I want to see what they're doing. It's a pediatric facility. And so my why, it's expanded. It's not just You Think Indigo. It's not just Children's Miracle Network. It's like kids I don't know, things I didn't need. It's not a reason for you not to have a why for something else because you never had that experience.
So good. Dr. Jeannie said, why is such an amazing and critical question. Super shout out to my mom and my 92-year-old grandma who are watching. Yay, they're watching right now as well uh, on one of the on Facebook, I think. So here's the thing. Oh, YouTube. Here's the thing too. When we think about our lives, when we think about our why, at the end of the day, I always talk about this at my Women's Weekend Renewal Retreat coming up in September. You know, we read, you write an obituary is
Mm.
one of the exercises that I do. And it's sometimes a tough exercise. And then to be able to read it to an intimate group is you stand up and what impact did you leave? Why was your work, was your life just so impactful? And what do people say about you? And I think that, how big is it to be able to say, I led a cause that really helped the Children's Miracle Network. I led a cause that allowed me to know that I'm bigger than where I stand right now, that I'm surpassing even your expectations of now, that I'm infiltrating the space with all of me, that I was able to truly zero in on my why. And then as we go to that last strategy is to enhance your life and those of others, right? When you supersize, when you grow, when you enhance, when you amplify, you in every single thing that you bring into the world. Sometimes it doesn't need to be like super major, but you got to be able to answer these questions. You got to be able to say, I surpassed my expectations. I infiltrated the space. When I walked into the space, they knew Lolita E. Walker was there. They knew Danne Smith Mathis was there. They knew Insert Your Name was there. And this is why. I zeroed in on my why, and I can tell somebody why this conversation is so important. I can tell somebody why I chose the doctoral path with so much going on. I can tell somebody why I'm pushing so hard to do these amazing things. And so then this enhancing your life, like I enhanced my life. I continue to grow. I continue to expand. I continue to ask and learn and lean from others. And then I also enhance those around me. Go ahead and lean in, Danny.
You know, the first thing I think about is the prayer I pray every morning for my family. I'm the mother of three adult children, two grandsons, age 6 and age 6 months. And every morning, the way I want to, the biggest supersize in my life, the biggest enhancement I want to make in my life is praying for my children, no matter how old they are, no matter how old I am. And I pray every morning that God would regulate our thoughts, that God would keep my sons in the struggle with what it means to be men of God, that God would keep my daughter and my daughter-in-law in the struggle with what it means to be a woman of God, that God would save my two grandsons early in life so that they can escape a whole lot of foolishness that I did not. And I also pray that God would just really, really, really regulate their thoughts and keep all of us pure. And so that's the biggest supersizing. That's the biggest elevating. And that's the biggest thing that I look for out of life. All these other things come after that for me. And I'm just thankful that you had me here to just share what's going on.
Oh, one of the things too is I remember talking to Danny about this, and one of the things she didn't mention is Danny is, I think you said, the only grandmother who was inside of this competition that you know of. Is that true, or one of the only?
I don't know that low. I'm not sure about that. That could be, but I mean, I'm
Oh,
65
I
and
thought
I look at the pictures. I look at the pictures and I'm like, yeah. It's for
maybe.
and I can tell you this. When they send out messages, they're always sending out messages for women who are just had babies and they're in postpartum. I'm like, well, I'm way past that. So I know they're not talking to me.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, while we don't know that statistical fact that she is the only or one of the only grandmothers, what we do know is that the emails that she gets puts her at a different type of level of application inside of there. So we want to make sure that we elevate that as well, because age is only a number, right? Age is only a number. It doesn't stop you from any of the supersizing, because at any age you can choose to supersize your life. We have 6 minutes left, and I want to make sure that I open it up if there's anybody who wants to add anything, have any questions for Danny, for myself, because I can continue. I have plenty more. Okay. All right. So one of the things, Danny, and if you do have something but you weren't able to get to the line, just go ahead and just say, "Hey, Lolita, I have something," and that's absolutely no problem at all. So don't forget to vote for Danny, and we want to make sure that we are part of history of making her this super mom 2023, and we absolutely have the power to do that. I mean, seriously, there's let me see how many people are in the room right now. So we have almost 80 people that's listening in right now, and then the replay is going to be on and popping. We have 3 other platforms that's taken on now. Make sure you definitely share it. Tonight is our goal to make sure that we can get Danny into this 144 folks. If you're just getting here, I'm Lolita E. Walker, and I had Danne Smith Mathis on today. And we talked about how to supersize your life and elevate the strengths that you already have. I talked to Danny, and I'll ask you guys, just as some soul work, is think about what strength are you adding into your life right now that is helping you supersize in any aspect of your life. If you've been inside of any of my coaching, then you know I firmly believe that there's these 11 aspects of life. And so whatever aspect of life is, how are you choosing to supersize inside of that one aspect? And the strategies that we left you with were: 1, surpass even your expectations of now. Surpass them. Where you're standing right now, where your vision is for right now, I want you to leap, because your faith and your strengths have wings to protect your fall. Leap, because you can surpass even the expectations that you have of now. Next is to infiltrate the space with all of you. When someone is inside of the room and you walk in, before you leave, people will say, "You know what? All of Danne Smith Mathis was here, here, here." Okay. And hopefully you all felt that as well today. And then zero in on your why. Know your why, because sometimes it'll cancel your what you're doing. Okay. enhance your life and those of others, right? Our life has purpose. And so it's not only ours, but it's also the service that Danny talked about was her strength in serving others. And that is exactly what she's doing. So, Danny, as we wrap ourselves up, I'd love for you to just give some final words. And then if there's any strategy that really stuck out to you today, lean all the way in.
Well, thanks, Lo, for having me. Really shout out to everyone listening, watching, especially Breakfast with Champions family. Um, just don't limit yourself. If sometimes we limit ourselves by limiting how we see others. And if you limit how you see others, like if I had limited myself to say, oh, well, I don't have a child that ever had a critical medical need, so I can't really get in this competition because it's supporting Children's Miracle Network and I really don't need them. I never needed them. So why should I? That would have been limiting my view of other people. And therefore I wouldn't be here today if I had done that. Right. So I think that is the biggest strategy is don't limit your view of others, because when you do, you limit your view of yourself.
Yes. And then Danny, listen, Glenn Lundy always ends with this question, and I absolutely love it. I just thought about it just now. And so I want to ask you, you might have heard him ask this before. He says, if you were on a mountain, high on a mountain, and there were all of these folks that are down there, thousands and thousands and thousands of people are down, and you are high on this mountain, what is something that you would tell these folks that are down there listening and they're screaming, Danny, Danny, Danny? What would you say to them? And I know you've given us some wisdom, but what would you say to these folks right here?
I would say, leave the weakness, take the cannoli.
Take the cannoli. Take the cannoli. I absolutely love it. There's nothing but awesomeness all up inside of there. So take the cannoli, leave the weakness. I absolutely love that. Danny, how do people get in touch with you?
www.dannesmithmathis.com, and that's Danny with an E.
Danne Smith Mathis.com. And if you all want to hear about Danny's story, I tell you, if you want to hear about trials and tribulations that lead into the person that she is today, I have on my podcast an interview that I did with Danny, and some of the stories that she tells about what she endured and really pushing past that. Like, how do you get past that right there? How do you get past a domestic violence, abusive situation? How do you find yourself? How do you rediscover yourself through your children? How do you get to a point where I'm putting myself out there for a competition? So we want to make sure that we support Danny in this competition. thesupermom.org/2023/Danielle-A-Mathis, because tonight we know that she will be one of the 144. And I cannot wait to tell you all when I see you all again that we helped her to get there. So thanks so much, Danny, for being here. Thank you so much, Breakfast with Champions, Coaching Cocktails and Conversations, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, all of the things. And we'll see you again soon.
Thank you so much, love.
You are